Hello and welcome to Two Therapists and a Microphone. I am Dr. Harrison Davis.
And I'm Dr. Aisha Dickerson.
Two Therapists and a Microphone is a podcast show about mental health, relationships, and social issues that personally affect you. We broadcast live every Thursday evening at 7 o'clock p.m. on the Our Black Media Network.
We are two licensed psychotherapists with decades of clinical experience, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear about your situations and dilemmas that you're going through. So please, if you have any questions, visit our website, www.twotherapist.com, and click on Ask Two Therapists at the top of the page.
Absolutely, because I want us to talk to the real folks out there,
Yeah.
not only the black folks, but, people in urban environments with somebody who actually understands you. And we have training to help you out a little bit as I'm listening to some other podcasts out there. And there are some clowns out there.
Oh, I know. I know.
I've heard a few. I just have to turn it off. They're more like entertainers
But they would
than
they would probably call themselves coaches.
they
A
do. They
lot of
call
them.
themselves life coaches, and
Okay.
there is no license for a life coach. So
But there is training.
there
So
is training, but you don't
I've
need
met some
training to
life
call
coaches who
yourself a life coach.
exactly. Exactly.
So I just
So
want to
some
throw
people
that warning out there. So in the new year, in January, when we come back, it's currently mid-December, but when we come back, we're going to introduce a new segment where people can actually come on the show and we can talk about something that they're going through. I highly encourage you to at least talk to a licensed professional. So today we're doing hot topics, where Dr. Aisha and we bring up some topics. We don't typically share it, with each other. But today, the first topic I wanted to talk about was about the recent death of Stephen Twitch, boss, who apparently died by suicide, according to police records, I think out in California. I didn't know him, so I spent the last day or so, just Googling him and seeing various pictures of him and photos. He was the DJ for the Ellen DeGeneres show. I didn't
hmm
watch the show. He was always smiling. A brother just turned 40. It's right before Christmas, just a couple of weeks before Christmas. He is married, he had 3 kids. Really sad story that I wanted us to talk about.
hmm So it's a little different for me because I won't say know him like we were friends, but those of you who
Okay.
know me know I'm from Montgomery. We're about the same age, or maybe a year younger. So we ran in a lot of the same circles. So I didn't have to look him up. I knew what high school he went to. I knew his friends. I remember him from summer programs and parties and stuff like
Gotcha.
that. But I also, you see him smiling and TikTok videos and stuff, but
Hmm.
I remember him
Hmm.
smiling growing up too. Like he was just always seemed to me to be a happy person. Now, of course, things happen as life
Yeah.
goes on. Um, and we have events, we have traumas, we get new friends. We move. I mean, he was in Alabama and then now lived in California. And on top of all that, like we talked about last week, the holidays are just hard for a
Yep.
lot of people.
Yep.
So I'm not going to try to pretend that I can come up with, a reason for what happened.
Same
But
here.
but what I have seen a lot on the internet that I don't necessarily agree with are people keep saying check on your strong friends. And to me, it
Okay.
goes beyond that. Just check on people, period. Check on your
Yes.
strong friends, check on your weak friends,
All
check
of
on your
them.
co-workers. Give a crap about people. Now, the thing is, a lot of times people say, "How are you doing?" And the other person says, "I'm good. I'm fine. I'm
I'm
okay. I'm
fine.
great."
Yep.
And that's not necessarily the case. For me, when people ask how I'm doing, I tell the truth. Well, I'm really tired today. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, and even then, I mean,
You
I
do.
always you see, this about me, and people are still like, "Oh, okay." Moving on to the next subject. So people have gotten so used to asking as a courtesy, they're not really listening to what you're saying. So I'll say check on people and then actually listen to what they're saying, or really don't
I
bother if you're not going to take the time to hear a
I
story.
agree, and I'm glad you brought that up. I would like for us to normalize checking in on people we know, even if we haven't talked to them in a long time, or those people who are close to us. And you usually talk to them on a casual basis, just like you said. You don't really go in
Hmm.
depth with things. It'll be great for you to make it a habit just to ask, "Hey, brother, how you doing these days? What's going on with you? What's going on with your world? To do more than ask, how are you? Or what's up." It'll be good if we can normalize strengthening connections with people to reassure them that we are there for them. And like Dr. Aisha said, we're listening to you. And I think only something good can actually come out of that. As a lot of people are surprised about Stephen Boss and his suicide. Like I mentioned, all the photos I saw him, he was happy. He was smiling. He looked like he was having a great time. Every
Hmm.
photo, I was wondering, is it the same shot and people just put it in different backgrounds because it's the same smile, But I'm wondering if anyone over the last couple of weeks just asked him for about a 20-minute conversation. How are you really doing? What's going on with you? You look happy, but is there anything going on with you? I would suggest using some of those sentence maps, uh,
Hmm.
talking to people. Can you think of some, Aisha?
Well, just I haven't talked to you in a while, or we haven't spent a lot of time together. Let's go here. And then that way, I know sometimes people will pull back when you start to ask questions. So just
Yeah.
be available, be present. Being present is very important. Eventually, when people feel comfortable, they will open up. But also, so I feel like this happened to me a few months, maybe like a month ago, maybe a few weeks ago. When people are authentic and they tell you that something is wrong, don't turn that into, oh, well, that's too much, or oh, you're draining me. Well, what you ask for then? I'm thinking
Yeah.
you're my friend, and I think we can, and I'm always there. I'm always there for other people. But as soon as you need something, people are like, oh, that was a lot for me,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. So
maybe you should see a therapist. And yeah, maybe you should, but don't make them think that they should see a therapist just because you don't want to be the one to talk to
well, there's a risk in being friends with
them.
someone and asking them, "How are you doing?" There's a possibility that they may actually tell you, and it's not great news. They're
Hmm.
not having a good day. So I like what you just said, Aisha. You got to be prepared, for it not being so positive sometimes. And the question is, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to leave them hanging? You going to make it more about you, because you can't handle it? I suggest you look at yourself and ask yourself, what type of friend are you if you're going to have limitations about how in depth you're going to go with some of your friends. And I know guys are really guilty with that. Some women
Hmm.
too are really guilty about that, where they don't even know a great deal about each other's their life, their family, nothing beyond maybe their sports and politics, what they like, but
Yeah.
find out a little bit more about your friends. And if you haven't seen them, I'm putting a challenge out there. It would be great if you, listening audience, can actually call 2 to 3 people you haven't talked to in about 3 months. Reach out to them, see how they're doing, catch up with them, spend some time with them. I think that'll be really good. I think they will really appreciate it too. I
Yeah.
think that'd be a great challenge to some of this dumb stuff I see on the internet. Make it something positive.
And you know what? I'm happy we're talking about it. The thing is, everybody is talking about it, and not everybody is a mental health professional. So everybody wants to do a think piece, and everybody wants to give their opinion.
Yeah.
But a lot of people need to just back off of that. Do what you can do. What are you good at? If it's talking, use your mouth to go talk to somebody else. Not as a therapist, but as a friend.
Gotcha. But be a friend.
Yeah.
And what kind of friend are you if you're going to ignore people or leave them hanging, in their time of need?
Hmm.
And like Dr. Aisha said, do what you can to help them out. But these are trying times for some
Yeah.
people. And we had a show on this, like you mentioned, the holidays and dealing
Yeah.
with stress, and it's often triggering for some people. It's difficult for some individuals to see other people happy, and they cannot bring themselves to a happy place. And Christmas is all about happiness and family, and relationships. And
Is
some
it? It's supposed to be.
it's supposed to be. You can make it what you want.
Okay.
That's what I decided to make it
Hmm.
about. But there are some people where it's actually annoying to them because they can't take themselves to that place to actually be happy.
Hmm.
So those are the ones who will really benefit from some of you guys reaching out to them just to see what they're doing, how they're handling things, and be very intentional when you talk to them. But this is a time where it'd be really good for everybody to checking in on each other. I think that'd be really good.
Yeah. Try it now and then keep it up. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Don't do it going into the end of the year because just because it's Christmas time or just because you've seen things that have happened on the news. Do it and then keep doing it. If you need to set an alert in your phone, and two
Yeah.
months from now, I'm going to call people again, and then another 2 months. Just put a reminder in your phone.
Yeah.
Unless that's too much for you, and you're going to be the one that's telling people that's too much and they're draining you, then you don't do that. You know whether or not you're the person who can take people's stuff, and if you're not, you'll just make the situation worse.
Yeah. And what I would say to those people, because they exist,
I know.
they
Hmm.
are there. And I recognize a few throughout my adult life.
Yeah,
It would be great if you could tell them your limitations early
that's
in
a
the
good idea.
friendship. Now that
Hmm.
we're all adults, so don't call me if you're having problems with something. There are those people who won't actually verbalize it.
Yeah.
But it's all about what type of friend you want to be, and what type of friend you would like to have in your life if you were in need of something. I was thinking about Stephen Boss. His wife seems very surprised by everything with the comments that she um, put out in the public. He got away from the house, stayed in a hotel for a day or so, and I think that's where that's came out in all the coverage, about a mile from the house, and that's where he shot himself. So he didn't want to do it at home, but the wife was alarmed because he was out of the house and his car was still at the house.
Mm.
So he was very intentional, and it would be great if somebody had reached out to him a day or two prior. I'll call it a breakdown for that. So think
Well,
about
so
that.
so the thing is, Harrison, somebody could have. So what I do know about him, I mean, I know some of his friends is that he has a lot of friends, and the friends that
Okay,
I know personally, they're great people. And of course, I don't know what happened, but I imagine that they reached out, or he may have talked, and they did
that's
their best
possible.
to talk back to him. But what I also know about people who are depressed and people who have made up their minds about what their next step is going to be is that they will just turn their phone off and they will block everyone and they will
Yeah,
isolate and sit in their thoughts. And I mean, I don't know what you do when that happens. You can search the streets all day, but when somebody doesn't want to be found and they don't want to talk to anyone,
good point.
they'll do that.
Good point. But like you mentioned, do it all year. Don't wait for that window to close. You don't know that window is closed, but if you keep up those connections, I think it'll be very beneficial
Yeah,
for those people who are thinking about doing something drastic. But I do send out my condolences to his
same
family,
here.
his wife, his friends. I can tell a lot of people love them. Again, I didn't
Hmm.
know him. I didn't watch Ellen's show, and so yeah, he was just a stranger to me, but obviously he did have a lot of friends.
He did.
So it is sad what happened to him. So
And,
that's
and
that.
I know that a lot of people who know him are my Facebook friends. So all of those who knew him personally and were his friends, my condolences to you all too, because I've been looking at your pictures and reading your posts, and they're very touching. Um, so my condolences to his family and all of you who appear to be his friends as well.
Absolutely. So that's my hot topic for today. Take care of yourself and attempt to check on your friends. I think
Hmm.
that would be very important as we're wrapping up this year.
All right. So my topic, on a lighter note, is
Good.
Deion Sanders' move
Prime
to
time.
I'm gonna say Columbus, but Colorado. Is it Colorado University? Where did he go to?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So I've never heard of that school. I don't think
It's a
I've
big
heard of
school. Yeah.
Colorado State. It's not
Mm,
Colorado State.
Colorado University is what I believe it is. Second, let
Okay,
me.
so. we've talked about Deion
Yeah,
Sanders a little bit before because he was at Jackson State and he had the issue with the coach at Alabama State. And I mean, ultimately, he really built up the program. And a lot of people would say he built up HBCUs as a whole.
I thought he
There was the
did.
whole
Hmm.
well, and there was the whole thing of if I ain't swag, who is swag or whatever it
Yeah, I
was to
remember
say it.
that.
I mean, he kind of marketed it. It turned into a whole song. It was a hashtag, and now he leaves Jackson State. And so
To
people,
go
especially
to the University of Colorado,
right,
big school, TV presence. The football team hasn't been great, over the
right.
last few years, but this is a lot more exposure. This is a step up, a couple of steps for
Well,
Coach Prime.
they've reported the numbers, and the money is definitely a
Oh
whole
yeah,
lot more. I mean,
oh yeah.
like leaps and bounds.
That's called a
So,
promotion.
that's more. It's more than a promotion. It's something else, but I don't know what the word is.
Okay,
But a lot of people in the HBCUs who go to HBCUs or alumni of HBCUs or people from Jackson State are in an uproar like he's
they
a
are.
sellout. He
They
left
are.
us, and after he did all that talk about that he was swag and he cares about black people, he up and moved to Colorado. I'm just having a hard time understanding how that means he doesn't care about black people.
Same here. Same here. Now I did not attend HBCU, but I went to historically black elementary and high schools
You sure did. Some famous
in,
ones.
in in Southwest Atlanta. So but I didn't attend a HBCU, but I am too surprised at the harsh treatment that Prime Time is getting. I remember him from his Falcons days,
Hmm.
and he played for the Atlanta Braves.
Right.
And he's one of the few players to actually play two sports within a 24-hour period. The
Hmm.
Braves are in the playoffs, and he played a Falcons game on a Sunday afternoon. And that evening, he played in a Braves playoff game that same night. And those
Yeah.
were fun times in Atlanta in the early '90s. However, I don't want to piss off anybody, but he ain't your daddy. Y'all acting like your daddy left y'all for a white woman out west. Left the whole family. It's like you
Hmm.
guys are triggered, by something. And so I too, I'm trying to understand some of the rationale behind the harsh comments and treatment. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't like it if he came in and turned the football team around and he put a spotlight on Jackson State and other HBCUs. I would be so happy about that. I was actually glad he was doing that. But then he left to take something bigger. I guess I'm just not mad at him, and they seem so hurt. And I
I
don't
mean,
think he deserves that sellout term.
like Jackson State was a season for him, and that's okay.
Yes,
People are in your life for a season or
good
a
point.
lifetime, and he was there for a few years. In my mind, he's
Three.
like the Gordon Ramsay of football. I'm going to come in, I'm going to fix your program. There, I made it great. Now it's up to you to keep it up. I
Yes,
brought it all the way up. It's up to you to hold it up there.
maybe that was your blessing, Jackson State University. He came there, uplifted that program, highlighted it, and other programs too, to bring you to a different level. Now it's time for him to get his blessing.
And
And it's a lot too. It's a lot of
it's a big old
zeros.
blessing.
It's a huge blessing and a bigger, more exposure,
Hmm.
larger university, TV coverage on Saturday. So some tough questions I would have for Jackson State. What did you guys do to keep him there? What kind of exposure could you offer him? What kind of big paycheck could you offer him? This is the real world,
Hmm.
as opposed to expecting this lifetime obligation to help you when he did a hell of a lot. So that's a question I would have for Jackson State University and some of the hurt cheering out there. That ain't your daddy. But
And
what did
I
you
heard he
what did
spent
you
a
do to
lot
keep
of
him?
his own money too. He spent a lot of his own money, from what I hear. There were some things that were supposed to be in place to get him more money on the back end that didn't exactly happen the way they were supposed to happen. But what I know for sure is he didn't complain about that. This is
He
stuff
did
that's
not.
coming out from other people, and he still hasn't spoken to that.
He has
And
nothing but kind words about Jackson State.
nothing.
So I respect the brother. Go get your bag, as the young folks like to say.
Hmm.
I got some hood clients. Go get your bag. I'm not mad at them. So the Jackson State folks and some of the HBCU folks. I'm sorry you upset. I don't know um, what's fueling a lot of that. It would be great if you guys can replace him, with someone who's just as effective.
Yeah.
But I do believe Deion Sanders was actually too big for Jackson State University.
Well, but he went there because he felt like that's what he was called to do, and
And he
he
did
wanted
it.
to make a difference. But that doesn't mean he wanted to be there forever. Now, one area where I do think I might have a problem, or I don't know if I would have a problem, is that he took his son with him to the school.
He's taking most of the team. He told him to go into the transfer portal. He yeah,
So
he's
that part is a bit concerning because like you go and you get the money and that's great, but you got to take the team too. So
well,
it might be difficult for them to recruit
I
new
think they are
players
having a
because he's
recruitment
not there.
problem. I think they
Right.
are having a recruitment problem right now.
And so that might be a little shady. Like you knew they weren't going to be able to recruit the way they used to. So at least let them keep the players they have.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's one of the complaints I've heard too. It's hurting the recruitment
Mm-hmm.
process for Jackson State University. There have been some big recruits who have changed their minds about going there next year because they were going there because of Dion,
Yeah.
and that he made some promises to the athletic program of the university. And it looks like he's not going to fulfill a lot of those promises, despite all the work that he did. So I don't have those harsh feelings, but I'm not I didn't attend Jackson State. I didn't go to a HBCU. I'm happy for the brother. This is what coaches do when they leave the NFL. The ones who do not go into broadcasting, sometimes they go work at a high school. They'd be a coach or assistant coach at a high school or a small university.
Mm-hmm.
Something like West Georgia or something like that, and then you see them move across
Right.
the country to take a larger position for a more well-known university, and they work their way up. This is what coaches do. If they want to make it to the big league, I would love to see prime time as an NFL coach. And the route he's on, he can
Me
make that
too.
happen within 10
Come on,
years.
let them come on to the Falcons, and
But
then
but but
I'll buy me some season tickets.
so another thing I just want to add to that, why should we black folks expect less from our successful black folks? Um, I white coaches have been doing that for decades,
Mm-hmm.
and it was obvious to some of us on the outside. Dion was really big for Jackson State, and then when somebody came knocking, he had options, and he chose. I expected him to continue climbing the chart. He has goals. He's ambitious, and it looks like he's going to get it. Why should we expect them to stay back?
Right, because so check this out. Let's look at Auburn. They
Yeah,
took the coach from Liberty. Liberty is a small, I mean, conservative. I didn't even know they
Christian.
had a football. I didn't know they had a
Hmm.
football team.
Yep,
So
yep,
that this guy built up their program so well that
yep,
he was good enough to go to Auburn. Now,
yep.
Auburn
SEC.
Auburn hadn't been great, but it's an SEC school. Do you think that he would say no, no, no? I love small Christian universities so much.
Yep,
It's all about Jesus.
yep.
I'm not going to go to an SEC school. I'm going to stay here and serve Jesus.
It's
No, he left
absurd.
and nobody said anything. They said, "Congratulations, sir."
No one said he turned his back on Jesus. No one said that he's a sellout to the Christians. But somehow we have that expectation. Because I rarely hear about HBCU football coaches besides the great one from Grambling University,
Yes,
Grambling State.
Eddie. I can't remember his last name, but his son is the one that's the head coach at Alabama State.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Robinson, Eddie
I
Robinson.
yes, yes. I rarely hear about them, but the question is, do they go anywhere beyond the schools, the universities where they work? Do they climb a ladder? Do they have ambitions to work for a larger university or even the NFL?
Are they so loyal that they're all about, just being swag. I'm
Yeah.
swag. Got to stick with the
Swag
swag.
or
I don't care if
MEAC.
they're paying me $50,000 and I'm getting offered 5 million over there. Loyalty is important. How
Yeah.
loyal are you
Yep.
to your family if you sit and accept 50,000 instead of 5 million?
Do that. Do that. Make that point. Yes. So yes, that's a great question. Yeah, the schools, the universities out there, and most of them are small. They cannot compete
Mhm.
financially with the larger schools, and I assume a lot of those coaches are very loyal to the universities. But where's the line between your loyalty to the HBCU and SWAC or MEAC and your loyalty to your ambitions and your goals and your family, where you can actually quadruple your salary, get more exposure, and go on to work at larger schools because we need more black head coaches in the large universities across the country and within the NFL. And Deion Sanders is on a path to do that. So
Well, and
it's a
that's
great
what I
point.
see when I see him moving is that he's recruited or he's taken some other coaches as well who are black coaches,
He
and
is.
some of them were at smaller HBCUs. They're going to make more money, and then they could put that money back into their beautiful families. So let's increase our wealth as a people.
Yeah.
We can't just get it all from us. We got to take money from other people as well.
So
So
the
I'm
question,
just happy to see more black coaches. Him and Cadillac at Auburn,
yep,
and
yep.
let's do it.
Do your thing, brother. And a question I have from you guys who are coaches at HBCUs, coming off Dr. Aisha's point, do you have ambitions, to do something more, or are you going to stay loyal to that university? What is more important to you? Do you want to move on? Do you want to climb a ladder for more exposure, larger team, a bigger impact? That's a question I have
Mhm.
for some of the coaches out there because this is nothing unusual. Just like you just said, the Liberty University coach is now going to Auburn because he proved himself
Mhm.
at Liberty, and now Auburn needs some help, and they hired somebody who's done it before at a smaller university.
And I'm still trying to figure out how you. I've never, like I said, I haven't heard of Liberty. So he did not on Liberty's football team. That is.
Yeah,
So he definitely didn't make the football team famous. Deion Sanders definitely did that for Jackson State.
I'm
And
happy
I
for
hope
you,
that they
coach.
get who they I hope they get who they need via
Same
recruitment,
here.
or that their players step up and do a great job, because all eyes are still going to be on you next year. They were
Yep.
on you this year because you had Deion Sanders. They're going to be on you this upcoming season because they want to see where are you able to do it without prime time. Show them
Yep.
that you can do it.
Yeah, and show that you can continue the success that he sparked, and perhaps that was your blessing for him to come in for that season and put a spark there. Now it's time for you to hold the torch, but that's just my perspective. So I didn't go to HBCUs. I went to smaller universities myself, and I don't know where those coaches are. So, anything else on that topic?
No, no, that's it for me on that one.
So the final topic I have, it's the end of the year. It's December. I'm in the Christmas mood finally. Got a lot going on and talking about a particular topic with a lot of my clients. I do this every year, sort of a recap of 2022. What lessons did you learn? What things are you grateful for? But the most important question that I like to ask some of my clients, I'm gonna ask this of you, Aisha. What are you leaving in 2022?
Okay.
Oftentimes as we grow up, our adult years, they sometimes blend together.
Mhm.
Sometimes when you think back, I know I'm at that age where I can't tell the difference between 91 and 94.
Really?
So, but when that's because you're in the same situation. You got the same dynamics going on, same job, same school, same friends, same partner, and nothing has changed. And I encourage people to find a way to enhance their life once we cross over into January 1st. So my question I want to ask you, you could ask me too, Aisha.
Okay.
What are some things you're gonna leave in 2022?
I have two that come to mind immediately. And number one is I'm going to leave some of these jobs I have in 2022. Those of
Okay.
you who know me know that I work a lot of jobs. I teach
Mm,
for a few schools. Two of them I've told that at the end of this term, that's it. You all going to have to find another instructor. I'm just going to,
really?
yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
thought you
that
were
leaving
Jamaican
money.
at one
I know.
point.
Yeah, leaving money on the table, yes, but leaving some stress on the table too, and students that I don't want to deal with. That's important for me. So I'm leaving those right as soon as I grade these final papers this upcoming week. I'm leaving some schools in 2022, and on a personal level, I am leaving. This one's going to be hard. Chasing after my oldest child all the time in 2022 because she's going to college. So then
Hmm.
next year,
She's she's a senior or junior
she's a
now?
senior. She's a senior.
Oh, I
So
thought she was a junior.
no,
Okay,
she's a senior. So I checked her grades. Her grades are good. She's gotten her
good.
acceptance letters, and now I've got to not chase behind her because she's got to do it herself
You got to let her
next year.
grow up.
She's going to be at least 3 hours away from me. That's my minimum. And so she's going to be far away. I can't wake her up in the morning. I can't
Yep.
get her oil changed. I used to do all that. I can't check her tires and get it. Like running around doing everything for her. Like I'm her man. She has. I
The
watch her
things we
car,
do for our children.
and I'm leaving that in 2022 so that she can start it now with me still being able to be there in case she messes
Gotcha.
it up.
Gotcha.
And then I'll feel better when she's gone.
Okay, those are some good things. I didn't know you were leaving some of your streams of revenue, is what I like to call them. I know some people call them jobs. There's just revenue coming
I'm
in
leaving that
because I
revenue.
do some of it because you've
So
been
what
doing it
about
for a while.
I have, but I did everything I need to do with those. I got what I
Okay.
needed, the reason for me to, and so I'm done.
Okay.
So what about you, Harrison? What are you leaving in 2022?
So leaving in 2022, I think I embarked on a journey early in the year to say goodbye to relationships and friendships where I no longer benefited from it. I am a loyal dude to anybody. I am loyal. I am that friend to call and check in on you, even when nothing's going on. However, I had to really think about it and think about, well, how often do I hear from that person?
Mm.
Or whenever I hear from this person, it's always when I initiate. I know it sounds petty, but I
No,
had
it
to.
doesn't, because one thing you do know is that you and I are opposites when it comes to that. Because
Yes, yes.
I cut them off quick. I'm like, it's in
let
that
me let me
friendship.
just say I had to practice, and I've been doing it well too, of cutting folks off. Maybe not permanently, or they may not even know it. It doesn't even matter.
Hmm.
But I just decided to shift my energy. Let me put it that way. Away from relationships and friendships that it just really wasn't serving me. I'm like, why am I still here?
Hmm.
Why why would I send this person a text? So that's something that I decided to do. Leave the dead weight in 2022 and allow new doors to open. And that process has already started. So that was something I had to practice, as a matter
Hmm.
of fact. I
That's
I have friends I haven't talked to in years, and I will look them up and send them a text or a DM. I will. I
that's a
do that.
lot.
I do that. That's me. I didn't mind either, but I decided to stop. Let me just put it that way. So that's what I'm leaving behind. Um,
I like
uh,
it. And if you ever need some tips and pointers on how to do that, I'm here for you. I got the answers.
I had to learn how to do that too. Because me, I like closure,
Hmm.
and I've even had a couple of conversations with people when they had to ask, "Are we still buddies?" Um, Well, you know what? Let's talk about that for a second. So that's me. I
Hmm.
I I I feel obligated to provide some closure and even talking about it with somebody. But then I had to decide, forget that. My closure is my absence.
Mhm.
So and sure enough, what I realized, and some of you guys in here realize this too, once you close doors to dead rooms, new doors will open.
Mhm.
And I have experienced that. So that's what I'm doing. Anything dead,
I'm here for it.
anything dead, I'm hey, I am sorry for it. I hate it for you, but I'm not dead.
No, you are not.
So that's what I'm gonna do. All those toxic relationships, this is where I encourage people. Toxic relationships, dead relationships, ones where you're not benefiting from or is overwhelming, as you just talked about. Some of your streams of revenue, it may be just too overwhelming to continue at that pace. Ain't nothing wrong with saying goodbye. Or you don't even have to say goodbye.
Just
Grant
go about your
them
business.
the gift of your absence.
Mhm.
That's what I got to say. So, anything else from you, Dr. Aisha? Anything you're grateful for 2022?
That I don't need those extra streams of income anymore.
Okay.
That's what I'm most
Hallelujah.
grateful. Don't need 'em.
Hallelujah. I am grateful for my health.
Mm.
As I've gotten older, my body reminds me of my age. Sometimes I might look a little bit younger than people actually realize, but
That's very
your
true.
your body will remind you. So I'm glad I'm off a couple of medications that I was on. I had to change my diet and do a little bit more exercise. So I'm very grateful for that.
Love
So.
it.
So that's the end of today's show. We hope that
Yeah.
you guys have enjoyed it or learned something from today's show, as it is mid-December 2022. And we start off talking about a recent tragedy with Stephen Boss, the DJ from the Ellen Show, who recently killed himself. A lot of folks are talking about it. A lot of people are confused about what led him to do that. Dr. Aisha and I didn't know that you knew him from your childhood. And we just encourage you guys to check on one another, those important individuals in your life. How about reaching out to them just to say hello? And we also talked about primetime Deion Sanders. I'm glad that we're on the same side on this one.
We are.
I'm happy for you, brother. Maybe you could have given him a little bit more notice.
Maybe, yeah. He maybe gave them more notice than he gave the rest of the world, though. They may have had notice.
I hope so, but that's the
Hella
only thing.
left
That's
him
the
some
only
star players too.
That was the only issue that I saw. But it's time for some of the HBCUs to realize their own value, and figuring out ways to keep some of the talent that they have, and even attracting it. Because Deion did it; he attracted new guys to the team, and you can see it in their wins and the success. So we hope you guys enjoy the show. Happy holidays. We're going to be back in the new year, 2023, talking about some goals and how you can stick to them. So thank you guys for watching Two Therapists and a Microphone. I am Dr. Harrison Davis.
And I'm Dr. Aisha Dickerson.
We will see you guys in 2023.
like that.